I usually do a monologue. I don't really feel like doing a monologue tonight. I see my people in the building already. If you guys watched yesterday's show, we left a little spicy. But before I get into that, are you feeling the religious Latina look? You guys know I'm an atheist, but I got the gold rosary and the big hoop earrings. I'm giving religious Latina. Yeah, yeah. Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. I'm YouTube's bad girl, Jen. Okay, I got my drink. I hope you got your drinks and your little snacks. Okay, we're gonna spend a little time together this Saturday night. That's what we do here. Okay, I'm glad y'all pulled up. Let's take care of the business really, really quickly. I'm on the block with Jen on TikTok. If you want to see me act a little monkey ass fool, yeah, I do reels too. Okay, on the block with Jen, TikTok. On the block with Jen Instagram. If you'd like to see more of me, more of my life, me from head to toe, what I do day in and day out, I even post some of my gigs. On the block with Jen at Gmail. I'm also on the block with Jen on Instagram, on the block with Jen at Gmail. If you want to hit me about a collaboration or a topic, something I haven't covered and something you'd like to see me cover. With that said, I get a lot of suggestions. I can't do them all. I like picking them out, especially if you're going to panel up with me and discuss that topic. Either way, I will consider it, but I can't do them all. Okay. So if you want to support the show, hit me in the super chat. Some people have said, I don't know where the super chat is. You have to look the corner box on the bottom, the little dollar sign right there. You click that and it'll give you a choice of how much you want to donate to the show. Otherwise, you can also, let me get this for you. You can also buy me a smoothie if you want to support this show. There it goes. It is scrolling on the bottom. Do you see that on the bottom? It's also Cash App on the block with Jen. So it's $ on the block with Jen. Pretty easy to find. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Cash App, Gmail. It's all on the block with Jen. Okay. I'm out here. So you can find me if you want. All right, guys. So last night, our topic was, are men coping badly with the modern woman? Okay. And we all know what the modern woman is because we hear so much about her, right? On social media. Modern woman is a woman that basically, and I'm paraphrasing the definition, is not having it. She's making her own money. She's taking full control of her body. She don't give a damn what names you're calling her, hoe, slut, you for the streets. She doesn't give a rat's damn. And men are losing control, right? How are they losing control? What do I mean? Back in the day, when a man was saying those things to a woman who wasn't a modern woman, it would shame her, right? She would keep her vagina to herself and keep her legs locked and closed, like mama told us, right? We were supposed to be good little girls, and guys are from the street, right? There's a saying in Latin culture, right? Los hombres son de la calle, las mujeres no. Translation is men are from the streets. So men are going to do man things. It's none of your business. You stay home. You have the children. You keep your legs closed. You respect. You cook. You clean, right? That's an actual saying, all right? And we followed that shit. Los hombres son de la calle. So whenever a man did whatever he did in the street, we had to understand that that is what men do. That's a man thing. Now we're in 2022. We have been introduced to the modern woman. She don't give a fuck about a wedding ring. She don't give a fuck about the white knight coming to save her. She just don't give a fuck. She doesn't care what you call her. She's doing slut walks with Amber Rose. She's calling herself a bitch online, right? Because she feels she took the trigger out and it empowers her to call herself a boss bitch and a bad bitch, right? So women are different now. And are men coping badly with that evolving woman, right? Because women are different. So things that men used to do back in the day to control a woman is no longer working. So he's getting more and more vitriolic online, right? He's getting more angry because he can't control the little women anymore by calling her a slut, a hoe, a bitch, you for the streets. Women no longer care. So should men evolve with women so they can get along better, so they're able to relate to women better, so we can move forward and be fruitful and have relationships with each other, right? And couple up? Like, what are men doing? How are they coping? When we left last night, Brother Ish and Glenn Lawrence got into a great debate back and forth where Ish was basically saying, well, you know what? It is our fault. Men lead. That was basically his take. Men lead. So if women are acting the monkey ass fool, it's because we dropped the ball. And Glenn was like, breaks. I don't think so. You can't take the accountability from women like that. Okay. They're responsible for X, Y, and Z. And that's where we left it. And that's why I'm bringing part two today, because Mama had a dinner meeting. So I couldn't finish it, but I really, really wanted to finish it so bad. So I'm hoping the guys are here and they're in the building and we could continue this conversation. How can the man evolve to relate to the quote unquote modern woman? I see my babies in the chat. What's up, Sherelle? Lily, I hope you're coming up today. So I'm going to drop the link early. Hopefully my guys are here and on time, because I would really like that debate to continue. I would also like you guys to support the people that are on my panel. It's so fucking easy. You guys follow so many celebrities and politicians and influencers. You really should support these guys with one click of a subscription when they give you their handles. Okay, it's very easy. If you support me and you like what I do and you like the guys that are up on my panel and the ladies, please hit that subscribe on their YouTube. It's not going to kill you, and you'll always get the same vibe. Okay, because we do these dope discussions. So I'm going to drop the link. Let me make sure my people are here, because I really would like to pick up where we left off yesterday, because everybody really wanted the conversation to keep going, but I had to go. So unfortunately, I had to cut it short. Okay, just sending a text, and I will drop the link. Thank you, Lily. Lily says, last night was yet another epic show. Thank you, Lily, for all your support in the super chat. Wasn't it though? That's why I wanted to continue it today. I was like, look, we're going to table it, but we got to come back. We got to come back because it was really, really freaking good. Okay, let me drop the link so people could come on up tonight. Tonight's going to be another good night. I know it. I could feel it in my little Puerto Rican bones. Good night, Monumental. Thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, my sound is good. Turkey Bill, hold on. Get your little drinks and your snacks on, people. Let's hang out. You're all welcome to the panel tonight. Everybody, okay? I prefer to see your faces, okay? Because it makes me look good if I can see your faces. But I do know some of you are hiding from the feds, and that's okay. So I dropped the link. Let's see who we can get up here. All right, I see my guys in the chat. Hopefully they will come up here. I dropped the chat. Let's get this party started. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, guys. So I dropped the All right. So while I wait for these guys to come up, did you see Rihanna and ASAP Rocky's baby? They finally dropped the photo. The crowd roars. Yeah, they dropped the photo of their baby. Like, a lot of fans were waiting for it. I hope they're happy now. They saw Rihanna's baby. Adorable little boy. Definitely got that Fenty forehead. Okay, got the Fenty forehead. But it's amazing. It's literally a picture of a baby billionaire. That's literally what it is. It's a picture of a baby billionaire. That little boy is a billionaire already. How'd you like to come into the earth like that? How'd you like to come into the world like that? A billionaire fresh out the womb. Woo! On that note, let me bring my people up. Let's get this party started. What's up, honey grip? You are also welcome to come up, doll. Everybody's welcome today because this conversation is going to get heated. And the opinions are strong on my panel. Watch your mics, guys. Watch your mics. So let me introduce mi gente first and foremost. And like I said, people, I'm usually because I'm moderating, I have a pen and a pad always so I can keep track of what people say, because I don't just like talking out the side of my ass. I do like to address exactly what I was said. But I would advise you guys, I'm not putting up a banner on the bottom today because I want you people to follow my people. Their handles are right there on their right on the corner. Please, please, please follow. This is listen. This is how we can all help each other. I'm not asking you for $500. I'm asking you to follow my people. Okay, follow my people. We're all different, but when we come together, it's really, really dope. So follow my people. Okay, I'm gonna keep nagging y'all about that. All right, guys. So we have Brother Ish on top. We have Lily from YB Limited, who is an actress, a model, and a writer, right, Lily?
A speaker, not a writer.
Okay, a speaker. But tell us about the film that you have on YouTube right now.
It's called The Love Throughout, and it is a 7-minute short film about my life. It takes you through, we pack a lot into 7 minutes. So it's a journey through my life about self-love, self-healing, and yeah. So it's one of those things that hits you from the very beginning to the very end. I feel like it's the message there for everybody.
Okay. And
yes.
I did see it, and it is amazing. Glenn Lawrence, another artist. Introduce yourself, darling. Let these people know.
Yo. My name is Glenn Lawrence. I am an actor, a writer, producer, director, podcast host. Man, I do entertainment. Let's just leave it at that. I just do a lot of entertainment.
We got Haran DeMarco, who's usually the voice of reason, very stern reason.
Haran, are you sure about that? Like reason?
He is.
You know, some of the wild ass, some of the wild ass shit that he says, like, I mean, did you not hear? Reasonable.
Reasonable.
That's questionable.
I digress because I'm a wild one. So when Haran talks, it is reasonable to me, right? I mean, exactly. Right? Off with their heads.
Oh shit.
Haran DeMarco, where can they find you? I know you're starting a YouTube page, and don't be fucking modest because I'll blast you. So let me see how you introduce yourself. Tell the people what you do.
Okay, so I'm just gonna have to just snitch on myself because you'll snitch on me anyway. So all right, yes, Mr. DeMarco, I'm an antagonizer of Glenn Lawrence. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I'm also a software engineer, a musician, a late to the party YouTuber. I'm gonna get that on the road, sometime next year. And as Miss Janicia said, the voice of reason, the patriarchal energy in the room, and the avid shit talker.
That last part was true. The last part was really true. Like, I will agree to that one. That's for damn sure.
Okay, Haran, on Instagram, is it Haran DeMarco, the name we see right now?
No, he has 17 of them. He has 17 of them. They all get hacked for some reason.
Where's the one where you're playing? Where's the one where you playing the instruments?
Dangerous DeMarco.
Okay,
you could just at me. I'll just throw that in the chat.
Throw it in the chat. First of all, I was shocked as shit, right? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I play an instrument. This man plays. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Okay. So he posted himself playing the piano, and he posted himself playing. What kind of guitar was that?
It was a Strat. It was electric guitar.
Electric guitar. Please go to Dangerous DeMarco. You have to see the videos that he posted. I said, oh, okay. So Haran's a panty drop on the down low.
A little bit.
Low.
I had some fun times in my 20s.
And now we have, okay, can I call Glenn? Can I call Brother Ish the voice of reason? Is it more suitable for Brother Ish?
You know what? He's more reasonable than Haran. But the thing is, like, it's not that I don't disagree. It's not that I disagree with Haran. It's not at all. I agree with him absolutely. But I'm just being honest. He's not the voice of reason.
Right.
He could be reasonable, but he's definitely not the voice of reason.
The thing is that let me qualify that statement. I grew up really, really rough with a rough dad. So it's like when I hear that kind of reasoning, I'm like, yeah, it's reasonable, right? But that's only because I grew up. My dad was a tyrant.
Hey, we're two New Yorkers, man.
Right? It's like
New
that's
York thing.
of course off with their head. That's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
All right. So last but not least, we have Brother Ish. Brother Ish, tell them a little bit about what you do, what you stand for, so people know why you have the opinions you have. And I'm gonna hold my cross up to you.
Brother Ishmael, I'm a filmmaker, entrepreneur, member in the Nation of Islam.
Your mic sounds like
lieutenant.
shit. It sounds like shit. Sounds like you're talking in a can.
What? Oh, wow. Okay, let me try an alternative audio device.
Sounds like you're in a can.
How about now? Is that better?
Sounds the
Is
same.
it better now?
No. What's up,
Same?
Troll?
Yeah.
I see you, Matthew. Go ahead.
Maybe I should drop off and come back on.
I don't know if it's gonna sound better. Go ahead, try.
All right, we'll try that.
Drive careful, Jack Fabian. I see you. Jack Fabian said he'd be right back. He's driving. Definitely don't want you not driving safely. Mark Randall, we haven't seen you here in a while. You should come up. See? You could be my third resident white guy. I have white friends. See? Mark Randall should come up.
Are we just affirmative action, but the opposite way?
Basically.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, well, you know, we kind of prefer our white guys red pillish over here, though.
Yes.
We don't do the pink hat wearers, man.
Oh my God. Mark Randall said all the evidence they had on me was lost in the fire the other day, so I'm good. Oh, Mark Randall. The fire in New York City and Brooklyn, the warehouse where all the evidence, the NYPD evidence, DNA, bicycles, cars, files up in smoke. 30 years of evidence gone. So
do they know what the cause of that was?
Somebody was like, "You ain't gonna get me." Flick. Go ahead, brother.
Do they have do they have an idea of the cause?
Not yet. Someone said they heard an explosion and then it went up in flames. So.
All right. Well, I'm still safe. Okay.
That's it. I find it very interesting and convenient.
Right.
Well, my tin head is tingling, so
right.
Of course.
Right.
Of course. Someone said evidence, you say, huh? Watch this.
So do I
Go ahead, we can hear you now.
Do I still sound like a tin can, or I'm good? I'm good.
You great.
Is okay, cool. So I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm a lieutenant. I kind of lean towards the military, so I'm not a minister. I'm not, Riza Islam or anybody that goes through the course of study, but I am a soldier in this program. I'm an entrepreneur and a filmmaker, so I have a unique kind of perspective on the world. That's about it.
Okay, everybody. So we are here. No Saint, are you coming up? Okay, he's watching the Pelicans game. He said he'll be up after. Mark Randall said he may have been smoking near a dumpster. Okay, guys, so we are back. Yesterday's topic, in case anyone's just tuning in and has no idea why we've all gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Are men coping badly with modern women? Are men coping badly? You guys heard me in the beginning say that men are becoming very, very vitriolic with women publicly on social media, online, on YouTube. There are guys that are, created groups just to go against, the quote unquote modern woman. I described what the modern woman was. I've even seen it get vitriolic to the point where I feel like, oh, it could be a little dangerous for us out here. It could be a little dangerous. These men are really, really pissed off. So here's the thumbnail so you guys get an idea. Are men coping badly with the modern woman? There goes a man using all the words that they usually use on modern women, which is hoe, for the streets, hit the wall, you single. lots of things is said about the modern woman, right? They call her everything but a child of God, as my religious folks say, okay? So I wanted to get back into where we left off yesterday. I'm so glad Lily's up here now so we can have a different perspective. And hopefully No Saint will come back as well, because No Saint couldn't get a word in edgewise yesterday, right? The way we were going at it. But we did leave off on Brother Ish was saying that it is utterly, entirely the fault of men, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, you could correct me, because men drop the ball. Men are supposed to lead. And I agree with that. I agree with that point. Women, I feel, are resilient. And if men aren't doing what they're supposed to do, we will pick up the slack. That's how we are built. We will come in and be like, you're not going to do it. I'll fucking do it. That's how women are, right? So Glenn was like, fuck nah. And Glenn, I'll let you get into the fuck nah. Glenny Benny.
Glenn.
I'm here. I'm sorry. Just switching the cameras. I'm switching the cameras.
Okay.
Hold on.
At least it was Glenn this time with the pregnant pause and not me.
Count down 3, 2.
Oh shit, that's funny. All right, you guys see me now? Good. All right, cool. So, all right, now let me clarify. I never said that men were not responsible by any means. I actually agreed that men were responsible. All right, but to say that a woman is not responsible for her actions is almost like saying, okay, she does not have the authority or the consciousness to be responsible for her behavior. So if she cannot be responsible by principle for her behavior in this area, then you must have constitute that to all areas by principle. It has to go across the board. Okay, if you can't be responsible for making bad decisions and making bad choices in life, or by getting with the wrong person, then could you make the right decision when it comes to voting? Could you make the right decision when it comes to picking a career? If you are going to say that you're not responsible for picking the wrong person in this area, and that's an adult move, then you must not be able to say you're responsible in other areas. And when I'm saying I'm saying that in principle, I'm not saying that that's true. I'm saying by principle standard, if you're saying that she cannot be held accountable for the bad choices and the bad things that she does because men before her did it, then what can she be accountable for?
Ooh,
is the question.
Glenn want to fight tonight. You hear this, Lily? Glenn want to fight.
I will just say this,
he came up
I will just say this, though. I will just say this. He's right.
Oh, you want to fight too?
I mean, when he's presenting it in that manner, I mean, I see both sides of the argument, but when he's presenting it in that manner, I see his points. He's basically saying, if you want to be prior to the modern woman, in many ways, the women were infantilized. They were treated like children, and and when they progressed and they became modern women and they became responsible for themselves financially and so on and so forth, with that should also come accountability in other areas. I think that's essentially what he's saying. If you want to be held, if you want responsibility and atonement of yourself, physically and otherwise, and you want to have a say at the table when political figures are being chosen and so on and so forth, then you should be able to be a big girl when it's time to make other decisions.
So I'm taking issue with the word infantilized. I'm taking issue with that word because I don't think that's what it was. Women were built to be the baby makers, the cooks, the ones to support the husband. So it was like a no-brainer that you'd stay home with the children while I go out there and conquer the world. I don't think that's infantilizing a human being. Is just that's your gender role and this is my gender role and that's how it's going to be. I don't know about infantilizing. I don't know if I like that word. I'm still chewing on it. I haven't swallowed. Okay. But I do want to get back to Brother Ish. I want him to, because the debate yesterday was between Glenn and Brother Ish, and then I'd like Lily to jump in on this. I'm still feeling it out. Okay. I'm still feeling it out. Brother Ish, what say you?
Well, this is a circumstance of nature versus nurture. And we are in an environment that we have nurtured and that we have created as men, as males, and primarily Anglo-Saxon Caucasian males. This is the society that was under their mental construct and cultural construct. So the accountability is based upon an environment that was created, and from that are the results of what we're seeing now. That's the dynamic of what I'm saying when I say the responsibility. Of course, every human being is responsible for their own actions and choices. But in this environment, this produces a certain type of person, or in this environment, the human behavior starts to fall into autopilot in certain aspects. So that's where I say that the men are accountable, the males in this society are accountable for what they're dealing with when it comes to women, based upon one, the definition of a man in this society is, like I said yesterday, how much you can drink, how many women you can sleep with. Well, what is that going to produce out of society? When you start to understand what manhood is and is not, you understand that being able to have sex with a bunch of different women has nothing to do with men or manhood. It has it's just your organ, and that's just a small dynamic of your experience with another human being in your interactive responses. So you're just following your primal low sex drive in the reptilian mind, and that's the lower hemisphere of your brain. So with that being said, to change this condition, to change these circumstances, men have to take full accountability to be the instruments of turning this ship around into a different direction. So that's my position on it.
Ew. Lily, what say you?
So I was listening to it. Yes, well, I listened to it this morning. And I was listening to the debate. First of all, hold on. Let me kind of reintroduce myself so people can kind of understand the point that the perspective that I'm coming from.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you're checking another box here on your affirmative action list with the whole, LGBT. So I'm like the resident LGBT trans, person or whatever. So for me, and I'm coming more from the feminine standpoint, although I can be in touch with my masculine side when need be. And the other thing is, I'm coming from a place where I was raised by two parents, and my uncles were in my life, my male cousins, my brother. I'm very close with the men in my family, and all of them are leaders. All of them are providers. So that's what I'm used to seeing. That's what, so when I went out and started dating, naturally, that's what I gravitated toward. And so I don't make any, what do you call it? I don't make any apologies for wanting to be with a provider. It's just as simple as that. Although I am independent in things like that, but I feel like if a guy is capable of leading, that's better for me, because I'm leading all day as an entrepreneur, and sometimes I just want to come home and just not think. So that's the view that I'm coming from. But as I was listening to them, I was hearing I was getting both sides. I really was. The thing is this is a patriarchy society, and I think we can all agree on that, although things are changed and it's at a tilt. But up until now, it's been a patriarchy society, which means that the men have been at the top, like the CEOs of this situation, right? So if I'm a CEO of a company and some shit goes down, right, everyone's going to look at me because it's coming from the top down. So ultimately, it is a lack of leadership. It does fall into, whoever is at the top. So, since they wanted to be at top now, you got to take what comes with it as well. And then the ball has been dropped. And now women are picking it up because they're like, listen, I no longer trust your leadership. And I've been there. I was in, a relationship with a guy, and long story short, dropped the ball and we lost everything. And that feeling that I had, because I'm so used to seeing men as providers and things like that, that feeling that I had was like, damn, like I can't even trust you to have my back if things fall apart. Like, you can't problem solve, or you can't come up with a quick, solution. And at the time I was battling cancer, Wow. So with that being said, that's how we got here. It was a lack of leadership. The ball was dropped. The women have picked it up, and they want their ball back.
Pun intended. Pun intended.
So let me just I have to co-sign that, Lily, because that's why people don't understand why I'm so hard on men. I'm hard on men, but it's because same as you, I come from a family where my father was the epitome of masculinity. This man worked 2-3 jobs, came here from Puerto Rico with nothing, ended up owning buildings, parking lot, more than one car, always provided. He was out there barely. I've never seen him cry. Never ever seen my dad cry. Very strong, very silent. Okay. He never called another woman masculine, because in his head it was unfathomable that a woman can be what he is, right? That's another thing. So then I get thrust into this YouTube world, right? Because I'm like, hey, there's money over there. Let me go get some. And the stuff that I hear from men is foreign to me. It's absolutely foreign. And
they want to be treated like bad bitches.
Yes. And I'm and like you, I'm unapologetic about what I feel a man should be, right? So when men say, well, you masculine, I'm like, because you're not masculine, and women are resilient. We will pick up that ball and we will run with it further than you. And you'll be like, wait a minute. So I agree with you 100%. I do think the leadership is at the top quite naturally. If I'm in a restaurant and I don't like the service, the waitresses, I don't want to, where's your manager? And if the manager can't handle it, I'm calling corporate. That's me. I'm the Puerto Rican Karen. Call me Karen, whatever. But I'm always going for who's in charge here. So if the men are in charge, why is it so horrible? Why is it so horrible? With that said, I want to pass the mic back to, who was it that spoke last from Ish and Glenn?
Me.
No, not you, Haran. It was when they were going. Can't hear you, Glenn.
Glenn, you're muted. You're muted, Glenn.
Ish spoke last.
Right. I wanted Glenn to respond to what Ish said about how he views men and all of that. Tristan!
Now here's
I made it. I woke up from my nap.
Okay.
Here's my thing. Like, I'm not disputing anything that Ish says. I agree. Men drop the ball. There's a difference between blame and responsibility. Okay, there's a difference between blame and responsibility. Can you guys hear me? Am I good?
No, I was talking to Lily.
Okay, there's a difference between blame and responsibility. Yes, men dropped the ball and they were to blame for dropping the ball. Now, if I hit Haran for no reason in the face, right, and then Haran in turn goes and hits No Saint in the face, is Haran justified for hitting No Saint in the face?
No.
Okay, then it's the same principle. Just because one party did something wrong and dropped the ball, and although everybody knows what's right and wrong, that doesn't allow or justify someone else doing something wrong because someone else did something wrong to them first. Okay, at the end of the day, wrong is wrong no matter who commits it. It's like you can't say, well, you did it, so it must be right. That is a cop-out. That's not being an adult, period. That's deflecting and not trying to take authority even when you know what's right or wrong. So if we're looking at when it comes to what's right and wrong, and if we're saying the way that men were behaving or the way that they dropped the ball was incorrect and wrong, but then another party goes and does the same thing and say, well, you did it. Who are you? You're not better. You're doing just as wrong. So where's the change going to be? Then that means there's no incentive to make a change.
But then where's the correlation to? Go ahead, Lily.
Oh well, what I did forget a point, and Glenn just reminded me because it was something that Glenn said mostly yesterday that I do semi agree with. About, and God, they throw that word accountability around, but but with it being both parts have a part to play, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're in a scene, you're playing a part, whether it's an extra or a cheer or whatever the fuck it is, right? So there are a subset of ladies that allow this behavior, mostly the pick-me's, right? So I just have a firm belief that people only do what.
Watch your mics, guys. There's some music going on back there.
People only do what you allow them to do, right? Mm-hmm. So there are some guys that are allowed to, to run amok or whatever, and not be leaders and then still get whatever, and then but that's not on a larger scale, but that that plays a part in it as well. There are a subset of ladies, and I've been saying this behind the scenes, whether it's cisgender women or transgender women, same, especially with the transgender women. I will be quite honest with you, a lot of transgender women who date masculine men and things like that's the only thing that most trans women usually date is masculine men. They tend to have low self-esteem because society has always beat them down and told them that they ain't shit. They'll never have a man. They will never be in a real relationship. So they have that old school saying, remember that old school, like a piece of man is better than no man at all. Ooh. So they'll take whatever they can get, right? To the point where they'll pay to be able to cosplay of being in a relationship. And I blame some of that as well for condoning some of this behavior.
Okay. I wrote that down, cosplay in a relationship, because I want to make that a topic, because I think a lot of people are cosplaying a relationship. Glenn, to your point, I didn't understand the correlation to what you were saying to the modern woman. I don't think the modern woman exists because she's saying, well, the man from back then dropped the ball, so now I'm going to be a modern woman. I just
no. I'm using that was the argument that you said. You said, well, men dropped the ball, and we're not going to do nothing until because you guys drop. We follow your lead. So if that's the narrative, if they follow men's lead, and you're saying I'm not responsible for my actions because you dropped it, so you messed it up. So you're responsible for my actions, and that's what you were saying. But that's what you were saying yesterday. You didn't say those exact words, but you said, well, you did it, and women follow your lead. Right. And if that's the narrative, right, then you're saying that you are not, as a woman, women are not responsible for their actions. And if that's the case.
So let me clarify, because that's not what I said. What I said was men dropped the ball. The state of the world right now is on men. It's on the laps of men. It's not on the laps of women. It is on
nobody's arguing that.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay. So now when I'm in a relationship, I've been in really great relationships. I've been in relationships where, like Lily said, okay, I guess I'm going to wear the pants in this one, right? Until I get sick of it. And then I exit. But with that said, I have been in relationships with men that were amazing at being protectors and providers, but just, people grow apart after a couple of years. So not all men are like that. So I'm not running around saying I'm forever going to be a man now because men have dropped the ball. No, I said men dropped the ball in the grand scheme of things. That's why this country and everything is the way it is. Women are running amok. They're not respecting men. They're doing them. But it starts at the top. That's not to say the next man I get in a relationship with is going to be some poo-put or some punk that can't protect or provide, because at the onset, I'm going to be like, goodbye. I can't raise another one, right? I got a grandson. Don't need to raise you too. So I'm not quote unquote doing anything because someone else did it. That's not me.
No, it's not saying you, and you weren't saying you per se, but you were saying as women as a whole, you're like, well, men lead and women follow. So if men did this, if men were behaving this way and women are following their lead, well, you're saying then it's the men's responsibility that we're following their lead. That we're doing this now. And by saying that, you're saying that then you have no accountability. You absolutely have no responsibility to be accountable. And that's a deeper issue and a core problem with this whole conversation, because I'm not debating whether or not men started the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I could totally account to that. Yes, absolutely. Facts, 100%. No denial here.
So what, before we pass the mic to Haran, what do you want women to be held accountable for?
Well, I'm saying if you want all you want to have all the power and all the luxury as a free individual like a man does, you want to be equal to a man in every aspect, in every account across the board, then you need to take the accountability and the responsibility for your actions and not be able to pass it on to men and say, well, it's their fault. Well, no, it's your fault too, because you chose to engage in that relationship, or you chose to engage in that action. You thought that was the best decision that you can make, or you should do, or whatever the case is. The risk outweighed the reward, or the reward outweighed the risk for you in that scenario at that time. But now that it comes back and backfire you, right? Now, if you made bad decisions that now affect your future, you want to be able to point at the men and be like, well, it was their fault because I was following their lead. And I'm saying, no, that is not correct. You have to be accountable for yourself. If you have
I think there's a huge misunderstanding, like a ginormous misunderstanding. I don't think women, the modern woman specifically, I don't think that the modern woman is gone. She's out the gate. She's out the gate. She's making her own money. She don't give a fuck about a ring. She don't give a fuck about a white wedding dress. She's out the gate. All right. She is out the gate, fucking when she wants to, doesn't care what you call her. She's out the gate. The modern woman is not saying, oh, if something fails in my life, it's because of men. She doesn't give a fuck, right? She's just as strong, loud, and proud as the MGTOWs. That is the modern woman, right? So I think there's confusion, and I loathe when men say, well, you want it to be equal to men, take that. Women did not want to be equal to men. They wanted equal pay.
No. That's not. It's not.
Let me finish. What men do is they exaggerate, right? Because when men get scorned or done wrong, they exaggerate, right? One woman breaks their heart, all women are bitches and hoes and fuck this, and I'm gonna do me now, and I'm gonna be an asshole, because that's what women want, ain't it? Women want assholes. Men run with the littlest bit. So now they say, well, I'm not gonna hold the door open. You wanted to be equal to a man, didn't you? And to me, it's silly, because that's not what women meant by I want to be equal. I want equal pay. If I'm doing the same job you're fucking doing, why am I getting paid less? If I live in the same country as you, why the fuck can't I vote? If I have to live in the same city as you with the same fucking mayor, why can't I vote? But men ran with it. Oh, well, I could punch you in the face then, because you wanted to be just like a man. Like, it sounds silly. You know that's not what women went. You know what women meant. You know that. Why does that narrative keep popping up? Haran, you could speak on that if you like. If you have something, if not, I'll pass it back to Glenn.
No one likes to lose privilege.
Well, I mean, no. Who does? I mean, you know, why would anyone want to lose a degree of privilege? I mean, come on. No one's trying to give up fucking perks. As a matter of fact, you always look for perks when you're getting into a situation. But anyway, be that as it may, there's a number of, this is a very complex topic, and there are a number of points on both sides of the coin. What I will say is this, regardless of what men and women say, you're not beating 300,000 years of biology. Okay, women will always be, looking towards men for some degree of guidance, some degree of strength, so on and so forth. I will contend, and I do suspect that on some level, I think that the modern woman resents men because in many ways she was pushed into a space of masculinity. She didn't necessarily have a choice on certain levels. for the sake of her own survival. I've seen it. I will say this. Uh, I don't necessarily believe that the onslaughts of life and the ups and downs and peaks and valleys of life should be thrown on and experienced by a woman when she is by herself. Because the only outcome that I've seen come out of that is a woman robbed of her femininity. And it's nothing more disturbing than that. When a woman becomes so hardened and so, so guarded and so on and so forth, it's just a sad sight to see. But I will say this, going back to what I said earlier about when I use the word infantilize, to be clear here, what I was saying is that if you look at it from for what it was, women couldn't make financial decisions for themselves. They were basically seen as property. In many ways, they just had no power. So at the end of the day, yeah, okay, yeah, that is a degree of being treated and seen as a child. You're not being treated as a contemporary. You're not being treated as a peer in that case. Blacks had to go through the same thing. Black men were treated as, children. We were referred to as boy. We were treated as property, so on and so forth, until certain changes were made. And then we were seen as contemporaries, peers, and so on and so forth. I say that loosely, but anyway, that's another topic in itself. But the point here that I'm making in it, here is this: Glenn and Ish are both making solid points. However, um, I do so see and lean towards the side of Ish. Because if we were really doing our job as men and really buckling down and not giving away the goddamn keys to the casino so fast on certain things, we wouldn't have half these problems. And right now, women are going through the growing pains of making their own decisions. And they're going through the growing pains of, not being as dependent as men. Men, just like men, are having to deal with, the modern woman, and he has no archetype, he has no point of reference. The modern woman is going through the same thing because a lot of their aunts and a lot of their mothers and so on and so forth didn't have this degree of power. So they can't necessarily give them advice. So they're bumping their heads all over things, also too. So I think that we're at a point in society when both sides of the fence need to sit down and have a discussion about where do we go from here in terms of relationship dynamics, because we have to redefine what this shit means for the next 50 to 100 years. And that is the overall point that I think both of us are not, taking into consideration. We're constantly looking at, what happened, what our grandparents and blah blah blah. That shit is over.
It's
None of
gone.
that shit is gonna happen again. At best, we can sit here and laugh over some of the stuff, but we represent a new beginning, a new space, of where the human genome is going. So we have to sit down and we have to find a space of compromise and understanding also that everybody ain't gonna eat. Some men just can't compete in this situation. That's just the reality of it. Some men just can't compete in this situation. And for those men, hey, maybe passport broing really is your shit. Maybe you need to go overseas. No, I'm serious. Maybe you need to go
There's some
overseas.
passport talk in the chat. I don't know why they're here and not overseas right now, but there's
I
already
mean, like, look, maybe that's your shit.
Well,
Maybe that's your shit, man. If you got to go overseas and and experience the 1950s and 60s, and go right ahead. You know what I mean? If you can't compete in where this is going in the next 50 to 100 years. Anyway, I'm done on that.
yeah, but they can't even compete overseas because at the end of the day, whatever you don't take care of here will eventually catch up. So it doesn't matter if they go overseas or not. So handle your business. Listen, this life is, if you don't handle it, it's gonna catch up to you. I think my credit score has said that a few years ago. You pay them damn credit cards. It's gonna happen. So thinking going overseas, yeah, it's fun for now, but this is the U.S. The U.S. is a bring money with you company. Listen, you go overseas, you can have your fun. You're doing all this with the female. Then next thing you know, Interpol's gonna knock at your door like, hey, the US says we need to bring you back, or this company says you need to pay this. It's gonna happen. So it doesn't matter if you're passport bro or not.
Not only that, but the women now who are savvy, because they think those women are dumb just because they sell their bodies, but the women now who are setting them up, because these idiots are going out there like, look, she really likes me, and then they're out
And,
their laptop, their iPad, their
and,
cell phone.
yeah, listen. I keep telling everybody I'm loving this Kevin Samuels clique, these passport bros, because it's more for me. I listen. We need to find a way to support these and make more men into passport bros. This is what we need to do. We need more of them.
I want to go back to something Haran said, and I do concede to that the modern woman does have a resentment for the man, right? I do, because I know I've become very resentful in relationships where I felt like I had to be the man or go in my purse, or it's like you do start resenting that man, because it's like, what do I need you for, right? They start kind of like bothering you in your space. With that said, I can't even call them modern men, these new dudes, these new type dudes, right? These dudes that want to be treated like bad bitches, like Lily said. Like, these new type dudes are also very resentful of women, and they all literally, it's like a clan of them, and they all speak the same language. It's like watching Avatar, and the Na'vi people, they all speak that language. Like, in the chat, like, they all speak the same language. On YouTube, they all speak the same language. On Instagram, they all speak the same language. Well, women, like right here in the chat, well, women should be, if they want to be equal, they should be drafted to the military, sacrificial lambs. Then we have another one. Women wanted to be freely promiscuous. I'm like, so what? So women don't own their bodies? Like, now women can't do what they want with their bodies? What do you mean freely promiscuous? Should they have been in bondage? Like, I'm not understanding this. So,
well,
on both sides.
I made a comment in a chat. That's why I text you today, and I was laughing. I was like, this is funny, because I didn't know that was going to be the topic. So I had made a comment earlier yesterday and on Instagram, basically saying this. This is before I knew that this was going to be the topic, like last night. Mm-hmm. And what I said in the comment section, because basically somebody posted that about Megan and her boyfriend feeling some type of way about her sexual history being put out there. Right. And so, the comment section was full of, what that was going to look like. Right. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, in 2023, can we normalize women having autonomy over their body without being shamed for it? The same way men have always been able to have it. Oh, they came for my ass, right? They drug me up and down Instagram, and I was here for it, because I don't give a fuck, right? So, but I was just like, wow. And like you said, it was the same language, and I was like, make it make sense, right? Because what you're saying is, well, men are built to do this, we're set up to do this, and this is what we're supposed to do, but the woman is supposed to be virtuous. Well, who the fuck are you fucking then? This doesn't add up. If we go by your logic, you won't have anyone to screw around on, because if everyone is as virtuous as you claiming them to be, this doesn't add up. Make it make sense.
So that's what Ish said yesterday. He said that men are the ones making the quote unquote hoe. That's what Ish said yesterday. I thought that was an interesting point. Ish, do you want to speak on that? 3, 2,
1. Yeah, I mean, again, if we are sowing our wild oats, who are we sowing our wild oats with? If we want to have a woman who is proficient in the bedroom, where is she getting this practice from? You know what I'm saying? You want a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. Well, okay, you only become a freak in the sheets after having a great number of partners, so that, again, it's changing our perspective of how we choose partnership and how we choose relationships. That's the bottom line. And how we view and see each other, and how we view our roles. Like we just said earlier, know your role. What is your role? How do you best manifest that aspect of who you are?
Men and women think differently. There's no way that we can ever be equal. Our brains function in different manners. Our thought processes function in different manners. Our synaptic nerves fire in different regions based upon the different stimuli. So, with that reality being scientifically known at this point, then we now have to take a different position in this society and say, okay, let's put the brakes on this thing and let's start deconstructing and reconstructing. And that's the ultimate
Quick
scenario.
question.
Because again, go ahead.
Quick question. Do you believe? Okay, I want to not per se challenge, but by you saying that we make hoes, do we also make and influence high sex drives when it comes to women? Well, if she's born with a high sex drive.
Well, I mean, there's so many factors as to what affects
Do
someone's
we
sex
influence
drive.
that? Do we influence the sex drives of women? Are you saying that also?
I
No,
believe we do. I believe there's social constructs that we're now doing that stimulate the sexual energy. Beyond on top of just the porn and the over sexualized dynamics in films. You can talk about how people dress now, and it's always about accentuating one's sexual dynamics physically. You have ads that are in the newspaper pushing sexuality. Sensuality is now the concept of the
I don't
day.
know. 'Cause,
Women are dressing. Hold on, let me finish, Haran. Women are dressing to be sexually attractive. They're not dressing to say, I'm intellectually powerful. They're dressing to be sexually attractive or sexually competitive, to say, I'm much more attractive than you as a female, or I'm much more attractive because I get a lot of response from men. So that's a dynamic that we have to address, that sexuality is being pushed societally wise by the CEOs, by the owners of these corporations that know that they can monetize off of our sex drive. So yes, now in this trickle down effect, we are affecting the sex drive.
Can I
Haran,
jump
can I? Oh, okay, go ahead.
really quickly? What Haran asked and what you're saying is just two different things.
exactly.
Because women could dress sexy as fuck because they're competing with other women and not like fucking at all. Where a woman can be dressed in a turtleneck and her sex drive would be through the roof and her man better show and prove. So that's two different things entirely, in my opinion.
I just want to put out there that I mean, there's been freaks since the Bible. They've been called out in the Bible for some strange reason. Jesus always coincidentally always found these women. That's a completely different topic within itself.
Jesus not a hoe.
I mean,
He always did.
I keep telling
Well,
Jenny,
he
I think
actually
Jesus
did.
That's
I
what
look,
this
I keep
Judas
telling
saw.
Jenny,
He's like,
Jesus was
yo,
a
why
pimp.
is he
Jesus
over
was
here
a
doing
pimp
this
on the
with you?
low.
That's a t-shirt.
Correct.
Jesus loves the hoes.
I mean, look,
Wait,
listen, you know what I mean?
I'm
There
about to
wasn't no
copyright that
porn, there
right now.
wasn't CEOs, there weren't porn and CEOs and mass media back then. It was just people just had that hoe up in them and they expressed it. Like, look, listen, some people are just born with a particular degree of sexual drive. It is biological. And I think that when people accept that and not vilify it, because it's acceptable when it's a guy, it's vilified when it's a woman. You know what I mean? Let's just be honest with
That's
that.
the problem that I have in relationship to that. That's an imbalance societally wise. Why you can't support one and denigrate the other. Like that's just hypocritical. So
But this is America,
that's
though.
one of the failure flaws in this society. My point in referencing dress and all that, we're just showing how sex drive is influenced, is my point. How an individual may choose to behave or function is one thing, but sex drive is also influenced by environment.
I have a few questions. I have
I
two
don't.
questions.
I
I
don't
have two
think
questions I
so.
want to ask Ish. I have two questions I want to ask Ish. Ish, did you ever force a woman to have sex with you?
If I did, that'd be rape.
Okay, so every time a
So
woman had sex with you, she did it on her own free will. She chose to have sex with you when she had sex with you, correct?
I may have influenced her desire to have sex
No,
with
did,
me,
did
and
you
that's what
did you make her? Did she ultimately make that decision because you made her do it? Regardless of influence or not, influence is at the end of the day, did she choose on her own free will?
Yes.
Okay, then. So you are not responsible for her decision. You're not responsible if you had sex with her and then, you know what, it didn't work out. Okay? That means she made the choice to have sex with you. That was a choice she made, hoping that whatever was going to happen after it, and whatever never transpired, that doesn't make you making her a hoe. Okay?
That's an
No,
oversimplification
it's not. It's you're
of
what
a
your statement.
societal issue.
But what
We're
your
not
statement
talking
is
about a
saying,
societal issue. You're talking about
I'm not.
individual
No,
interaction. But we're
I'm
talking
talking
about
because
a
it's when you're
societal issue.
talking about a societal issue, it starts with the individual. You don't have a society until you have individuals that come together. Okay, so it has to start from the individual's point of view. Okay, so if individuals are making decisions and not vetting properly, and I say the same thing about guys have no room to bitch about women if they choose not to vet them properly and then they clean them out. That's their bad decision. That's their stupidity, thinking with their dick, not thinking with their head, not seeing the red flags that may come up. All right, and them not vetting that woman correctly, and what ends up happening is they get left with nothing. Oh, woe is you? No, you're a dummy because you did not properly vet the woman correctly. If you did, you may have seen something that may have give you some reason to pause and not go down that route. So the same thing is for women. Women, if they make decisions that end up causing them to catch a lot of bodies or become very promiscuous for whatever reason, then they chose not to vet the man properly. And if that's the case, then that's still their fault. It's still their fault.
The individual.
Nobody forces
Let me
women.
respond.
But Glenn, men are but still, yeah, and still men are the ones that have a problem with a woman sleeping around. Most women don't fucking care. Men care. Men ask body counts. Men care. Women are fine sleeping around with different dicks. Get it out your head. If you're watching me right now and you own a penis, okay, and you date women like fucking and sucking too. Different men.
What gets me is like what
you
gets
have
me
a problem with them liking it.
Yeah, like what gets me is like the anger behind the word hoe. Like it's crazy when how I hear them spew it and how I see them spew it, because it says way more about them than the woman that's out there minding her business, doing whoever she wants to do and don't know that you're alive. Like that says a lot right there. And that's what, like, I think they have a hard time owning up to. What, like, when I started working with my mentor some years back, my late mentor, whenever I would do something like that, he will always say, well, what are you feeling right now? What are you, go in there, go deep and see what the hell's going on with you that made you so, that's how I was able to identify at the time my internalized self-hate, my internalized homophobia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it took me to turn it and look at myself like, damn, what is making me have this, what is that feeling? So I think they don't want to go deep in, or if they don't want to admit to what that really is, what that feeling is, and what's behind that for real.
That's beautifully said, because men don't do that. They love the stamp of hoe, but they will not go inside and ask themselves, why are they so fucking triggered by what another woman does with her vagina? Why does it trigger men so badly? Women that they'll never have anything to do with. Like, for instance, just pulling someone out the sky, Lori Harvey. She's doing what the fuck she wants to do. She's a young woman. She's a beautiful woman. She dates around. She's for the streets. She's a hoe. That why do these women trigger you so bad? Is it that men feel out of control? They feel like they'll never have a woman like that. They feel like women they can't control women. They don't look inside. Was your mother a hoe and you're suppressing that? Like, what is it? Did you not have a daddy? Is your sister a hoe? Is the first woman you fell in love with? Is she quote unquote a hoe? Why are men so triggered? And they use the word so loosely, right? And it's never in a nice way, right? It's never like, oh yeah, she's a hoe. Like, well, fuck these hoes. Well, we need hoes. Well, hoes. Why are you so triggered? Because we see you. We see you. I know men think that calling women out their name is some sort of power play, but we see you. You sound like broken little boys. So what is it? What is it within you that you hate women so much? Or you don't like them? What is it that triggers you? Because you're triggered. You are triggered. So you have to figure out why a woman doing what the fuck she wants with her body triggers you so bad. But going back to what Glenn said, when you were saying, well, it's the woman who gives up the body. So, but women don't call themselves hoe. And
yes, they do. That they do. That's the first insult that women make about another woman is that
I'm going to address that because I know that's the retort. I'm going to address that because I know that's the retort. They're already throwing it in the chat. Okay. Maurice, and what you just said. What is the first thing a woman calls another woman for an insult? Why does she think that's an insult? Why does she think that's an insult? I'll wait. Why does
do you really want to answer?
Why does a woman automatically attack a word that can be used against me, right?
You want to answer?
That's like a black person, let's say, for a simple example, a black person, right, calling another black person the N-word with the ER at the end, knowing that that word can also be used against them. What is in that person? Why they know that if they call another black person that, they can hurt them with it because it can be used against them. So when women use that word, they didn't pull it out their ass. They pulled it out of the vocabulary of fucking men because that's how men insult women. And again, men lead, women follow.
Right. And I want to take it another step further. That reminds me more so of a black person in a room full of white people who, run that company. Let's go back to the CEO again. A room full of white people. Django, Samuel Jackson and Django. That's what they give me, right? They give me the whole Django situation where they're trying to impress the man because they know that that's going to, get under her skin and try to possibly get close to him because, that's what I see it as. When I see him, like, oh, okay, you have to do that because you want to impress him. Okay, I get it.
So it's funny that men don't even have the knowledge or the wherewithal or the capacity to understand why women use that against other women. Like they're fucking clueless. Like, it's the first thing a woman says to another woman. She says that because she wants to diminish her in the eyes of another man. I've seen women do it all the time. If a woman is with a man that she likes or married to in a relationship, I heard she's a hoe. Why? Because she wants to put that in that man's head because she knows men, quote unquote, don't like hoes, although men love hoes. Men love hoes. They make hoes rich. They make hoes mothers. They marry hoes. They follow hoes on social media. They watch porn with hoes. Okay. More men watch porn. Men love hoes. That's why I don't understand the vitriol. It's like a love-hate thing. And you need therapy for that. We can't fix you. You need therapy for that because you really do love a hoe. You love her wholeheartedly, okay? You will ruin your money, your empire, your wife, your marriage, your children for a quote-unquote hoe. So let's cut the shit.
I got a couple of things I like to say. First of all, I think both sides of the aisle are full of shit. You know what I mean? I think both sides of the aisle are full of shit. Okay. There's a lot of things that we're both doing that we're not really admitting to. You know what I mean? Because we're just so stuck on, our wants and needs and so on and so forth. But anyway, be that as it may, in these spaces, and I'm going to keep it towards men speaking on 304s and hoes and so on and so forth. A lot of times in these spaces, we spend too much time discussing sects of people and ideas and lifestyles that we know we can't change. You know you can't change those people. Why are you talking about them? When's the last time you saw a show that said, hey, you know what? We need to concentrate on the pick-me's. We need to concentrate on the women who want to be pick-me's. Well, let's devote our energy over there. But there's a reason why we don't devote our energy over there.
Why?
Because the pick-me's aren't built like the hoes.
Damn.
They aren't physically built like the hoes.
Say that. Say
Okay,
that.
they aren't physically built like those. Because trust me, if them pick-me's had the titties and the ass and the hips like hoes, we wouldn't be having half these arguments and conversations. No, you're a 3 or 4, you're a this and you're that because you have everything that I want, because biologically I'm attracted to everything that you have physically, because you know what I mean. But why are you like this? I need you to cover up. I need you to do this, that, so on and so forth, or whatever. But no, she's not going to do that. You know why she's not going to do that? Because she's indulging in her privilege. She's indulging in the fact that motherfuckers want to throw money at her. Here's a bag, here's a home, here's a car, here's a house. No,
Yeah.
but she's not supposed to take that though, right? She as a human being, she's not supposed to accept the keys to a car or a free home or any of those things, because she's supposed to be a nice girl.
You better take
She's
that.
supposed to be respectful and so on and so forth. Yeah, pal. Okay. And now in terms of the women, as I said to you before, Jen, you know what I mean? You know, we talk about the Pookies and the Ray Rays and the full of shit guys and so on and so forth. Just say what it is. Pookie and Ray Ray, 9 times out of 10, these niggas got abs, and the square dudes don't. I mean, let's just
I
call
call
it
them
what it is.
hobosexuals.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and there's if you fucking for a place to stay and it's successful, that means you're doing a good job. that means you're swinging it right.
I take full responsibility for the homosexuals. I've been in relationships.
You know what I mean?
They
So
got
a lot of times,
they got good.
Okay.
Homosexuals
you know what
got
I'm saying?
good.
And the square dude has stiff hips. You know what I mean? He's not interesting. He's not all these things. No, let's just call it what it is. A lot of time biology wins, man. A lot of time biology does win. And now we're stuck in a circle where we're having the same conversation because deep down inside, it's like, yeah, there are other choices. You just take the shit I want.
Now,
Yeah, I know this.
That was the point I kept making, and like when people were coming for me in the comment section, I was like, so what is it that you want? What is your end goal? Like, is your end goal to shame this lady into better behavior? I'm not understanding. And if that is the case, when has it worked? Like, give me an example of when shaming someone into better behavior has worked.
See,
right?
Can I speak on that real quick? Because my opinion is I don't really care. I really don't care what women do. Honestly, like, do you? I'm gonna do me. All right. And if a woman comes across my path that maybe not meet my criteria because of prior experiences, that's my choice. I'm not even blaming her. I really don't care. That's just that's where I stand. And I agree that guys that are bitching and complaining about women that they were never going to get is irrelevant. It's stupid. There's no point in doing it. But here's the problem. And this is where I see the problem is that a woman could be a porn star and then she get piped out for 5 years, whatever, take 1,000 dicks. And then the guy that she wants tells her no because of what she used to do. He doesn't want to get with her. And then when now the women are saying, how dare you judge me for my past? How dare you hold that against me? That's where I say that's a problem, ladies. It's like, you can't be mad at a guy if he has a preference for not wanting to have a woman that was a porn star. That's not, no.
I call Pat.
I don't know. I see.
What Glenn is saying is fair. What Glenn is saying is fair.
Because porn stars, I know you always go back to porn stars, but porn stars especially, porn stars are married. Porn stars are mothers.
Some of them.
Wait a minute. Porn stars are in relationships. And I really don't think that porn stars go out in the world and try to get a normal man. Most of them are married to and in relationships with other porn stars, because they know the business, they understand the business, okay? So I call cap on that. I don't think women run around saying, I have 1,000 bodies, why don't you want me? Who are these women that are doing
Have you not heard of Mia Khalifa? She just Mia Khalifa just was complaining about it.
And you,
That's one of the reasons why that's the most recent example.
no, but one
That's
person.
but I'm not. You just asked me. Did you
I
want
know,
me?
but you really believe Mia Khalifa is not just doing that for content? Mia Khalifa, who
I
people
look.
Isn't she
I can
married?
only. I can no. She's divorced, and I can only take people at face
Oh.
value what they
she was
say.
married,
She was married, and he left her. You know.
right? But
So like
there are
it got.
but that doesn't. But you think he left her because she was a porn star? So when he put the ring on her, he didn't know she was Mia Khalifa.
No, I think he thought he could handle it, and he thought he could handle her past, and he didn't. He couldn't handle it. It was too much for him. It was too.
But did he say that though?
But I bring.
Wait.
No, I'm just speculating because like their divorce has been really.
But that's why I
quite
brought
quiet.
up yesterday that there are people on the panel who are divorced, and there are people on the chat who are single and divorced, and none of us are porn stars, to my knowledge. So it has nothing to do with body count.
No, what I'm saying if
virgins get divorced.
what I'm saying is it's not. I'm not talking about body count. I'm saying if somebody chooses, if you chose not to get with somebody because they did something in their past that was egregious, or you think that's not of value or something of bad character, and you said, you know what, I don't want to be with somebody that steals from grandma's. This guy stole from grandma's. He robbed an old lady that was walking home, and you know what? I don't like guys that do that. And you chose not to get with that. That's your choice, and no, you should not be shamed for you having a choice like that. That's what I'm saying is the problem.
This is where I call cap. Like, do you want to be in a relationship with the pillow princess? Like, will you marry and be satisfied with the pillow princess?
Of course not. He's gonna go cheat on her with the hoe. That's what
exactly.
But see, like you're not even using the same thing as an example.
Down on you sexually, that means she's gotten experience from somewhere else. You
Absolutely.
just don't have the car facts.
But nobody knows. Here's the thing. Nobody. I don't know what guy today that actually believes that they're going to get a virgin woman. Okay. Virgins don't exist no more. They stopped being virgins at 14. Okay. Like seriously. Nobody, I don't know what guy, if there is a guy out there that actually thinks that, then he's delusional. Okay. Because promiscuity has started at a lot younger ages these days, and young people are having more sex than actually even some adults. All right. So it's like, don't expect to have a woman that's going to have a few bodies. Okay. All women are just as sexual as men. Nobody's denying that. I'm not denying that. And women just have more sexual opportunity than men do. That's obvious. So nobody is denying that at all whatsoever. But and here's the thing, I don't even know why guys even ask about body counts. Personally, I think it's stupid. Because if you end up being her best, then it really doesn't matter. If you are her best ever, then you are the guy. She's going to be faithful to you. Yes, she may still have difficulties pair bonding. Obviously, that's science, that's proven. But if you are her best, then nobody exists before you. It doesn't matter. They're irrelevant when you're the best. But what I'm trying to say is when a guy has the knowledge of who this person is, and the issue is when people are being told that they are wrong for judging somebody based off their past for whatever reason, and you're saying, don't judge me for my past mistakes. You don't have that right to judge me. I'm saying that is wrong. We all do. We all judge people based off of their past. We all judge people based off their past interactions and how they handle things. And for a guy to choose not to want to get with somebody because she is perceived as a hoe or perceived as somebody that's not good for long-term relationships for whatever reason, then that should be it.
Right.
Just
it should be it, but Glenn, it's not. That's just like when I send these motherfuckers who talk about coffee dates, when I send them straight to hell, then I become the witch that should be burned at the stake because they want me to accept that there's some fucking bum that can't spend $30 on a steak. So we're all going to judge, but then people tell me, oh, you're supposed to accept that coffee date. What's wrong with a coffee date? Other women would take that coffee date. So it's the same on both sides.
Absolutely. And I'm saying that
to take your fucking cup of coffee and you want someone that looks like me to accept a cup of coffee when there are a lot of women that would accept that cup of coffee. But what men want to do is they want the quote unquote bad bitch to have the fucking qualities, all right, of the lame bitches. And that's not how it works on planet Earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? And it goes both ways, because the women want the high value guys that don't want to have a woman that is, has a high body count or whatever. Women want those guys that want to be just like the simps that will take them whatever they get, whatever they throw at them, they'll take. It's the same thing. And that's the issue. It's like it goes on both sides. Like I'm not saying that men are good or in any way. I already agreed that men cause this problem. Absolutely. They have that responsibility to be, they have that to blame, and they have that responsibility to take on that blame for starting it. But for continuing it, no. Okay, for continuing the cycle, that's not where it starts. Okay, it started here. Men are responsible for here.
Continuing it when men are still the same. What do you mean men haven't changed?
I'm not saying that men haven't changed. I'm saying for if somebody does wrong over here, and they're wrong, and if this person does wrong now because this person, they saw this person do wrong, now they're both wrong. And to say that, well, I'm not wrong over here because this person is doing it. That's what I'm saying is childish and irresponsible. Is absolute. That's childish and irresponsible to say, well, I can't be held responsible because I saw them do it. So regardless if it's wrong, you can't blame me. You got to take that blame and blame them. And that's what society is trying to say. It's trying to say like, well, look, you can't blame women for the way they're behaving because men were behaving this way too. And it's like, well, no, men were wrong for behaving this way. And anybody that after them behave this way is still wrong. We're not changing right and wrong. We're not rewriting what's right or wrong. Okay. And moving forward.
But the problem is that you can't put the milk back in the carton. Women
absolutely. No, I know. I get that. And I'm saying moving.
It's not even that women are being wrong too. They have evolved to the behaviors of men. So it's not even now it's like second nature.
No. If you're saying it's wrong, it was wrong for men then to behave that way. If it was wrong for men that way to behave that way, and women evolved and now are choosing to do the same behavior that men were doing, which was the same behavior that they were saying it was wrong, then it's still wrong. You don't get to.
All right, but you can say it's still wrong, right? But then we're arguing what came first, the chicken or the egg. It don't fucking matter. Now we have.
It does. You're right. It doesn't matter. They're both wrong.
The milk has been spilled. You guys dropped the ball. Now you have the modern woman to deal with, and all you're gonna, not you specifically, but all men are gonna do now is cam up, mug towel, and yell at the fucking webcams. That's all you're gonna do.
What I'm saying is like the
guys that are on top, the guys that work out, the guys that look good, the guys that got good dick are always gonna win.
Absolutely. That's the way it's been since the beginning of time.
Period. The rest of you will be in the chats.
Why are we complaining here? It seems like I'm winning. So what's the problem?
I want to address these two comments. BK Brown says, sorry, women who sleep around don't get respect, men clown her. Women don't care. That's the point of this stream right here. Women don't care about your clowning. Most of the women you call hoes, you don't have access to because you want to take them on coffee dates. Women don't care. You are barking at the moon. You are completely barking at the moon. The second thing is, this guy, Anthony, Black China ain't winning either. What do you consider winning? Because the bitch had not one, but two children from millionaires. She is forever a personality that could get a job on a reality show. She's making her own money. So what's winning to you? I don't understand. When people say, well, hoes ain't winning. The bitch has the ability now because she had two kids from two idiots, a rapper and a Kardashian. She put herself in a position to always win. So what do you mean she's not winning? What's your definition of winning?
I got a question.
Would she be winning? Would she be winning if she was back in the hood, broke, and no wealthy baby daddies? Is that winning?
With a ring.
That child is winning. That child, she got money. She got home, Chris. She got home. Isn't that what winning is? I don't understand.
Well, no, they consider winning the ring. And that's what a lot of them were saying in the chat when they were coming at me. They were saying, well, she'll never be married. I'm like, but she may not want to be married.
So if she married a broke guy, then these guys would think that she's winning.
Right.
Who says marriage is a win, though? How's marriage a win?
These men think marriage is a win. These men think marriage is the win. They think it's the end goal. Oh, you don't have a ring? Meanwhile, you got $1 million of fucking Mercedes-Benz outside. But you ain't got a ring. You ain't married, though. They think it's a win, although none of them are husbands.
That sounds like a desperate attempt to try to get a jab in that's not effective. Like you're losing an argument, so you'll say that. That's what it sounds like. Oh, but you're not married.
Women
Here's the
care.
problem.
Be
Here's the
different.
problem.
Women don't care.
Here's the problem right now. You know what I mean? And I'll say this to a whole room of dudes. Most of you dudes can't spot a hoe unless she admits it. Most people don't got that kind of game. You don't even know what the body language is. You couldn't spot a hoe. You couldn't spot a hoe if she literally smashed you over the head with a fucking potted plant. I'm dead serious, man. Now, first of all, for all you dudes who think you can, it takes nothing, absolutely nothing, for a woman who is an actual bona fide hoe to literally pack up and move to another city, another state, and start all over. Basically, you know what I mean, have a clean slate, you know what I mean, admit to whomsoever she gets involved with, like, yeah, I only slept with like maybe 4 or 5 guys, and you'll believe it because you need to believe it, right? You need to believe that. You know what I mean? You're a guy, as long as you're told the kind of lie that you can sleep well with, still a lie, but you're still, but you can still, as long as you can sleep well, then it's fine. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. If given a choice, if given a choice, and I said to most men, okay, your wife's going to cheat on you, but there's only 2 ways she's going to cheat on you. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer her to like or be in love with the guy that she's cheating on you with, but she's not having sex with him? Or do you prefer that she just fucks the dude that she lusts after, but she's still cheating on both ends? She's just in an emotional relationship with one, but she's in a physical relationship with the other one. Which one would you choose? Most men would choose the emotional relationship because as long as she's not fucked, cheating, that's not cheating in the minds of most men.
And that couldn't be more wrong.
That's what I think.
That emotional
Can I-
affair, baby. That means she's on her way out the door, really.
Yep,
Like,
that's
That
what
is
she's already
exactly what
checked
it is.
out.
That's
She's already
exactly
gone.
what it is.
yeah.
That's
already
exactly
gone.
what it is. But you see, most men would choose that because they'll just think, well, at least he ain't fucking.
Yep. Can I say something about what Jen said? And she's right. These guys are freaking out, like thinking that women want the ring. And that's part of the problem. Remember, I told you yesterday, men are playing by a different set of rules.
Thank
They're
you.
playing.
Can you elaborate on that? Because they in the chat talking about women can't fuck without getting their heart and soul involved. Every time a woman fuck, she falls in love. Motherfucker, how old are you? You better be 80-something years old. Welcome to 2022, bitch. Women can fuck a man and not give a fuck about him and want him the fuck out her house so she don't got to see him the next day or feed his ass breakfast. Welcome to 2022. Women do not care. That is why you are single, lonely in my chat every fucking time I cam up.
Right, because
Okay?
there's somebody in there talking about, like, they try to say, like, I had a whole stay at my house for a few months. It was fun while it lasted. Well, damn it, she felt the same way.
Hello.
Oh shit.
Let me finish that. Like, what I'm saying is that, see, a lot of guys think that we're gonna end up, if they bitch enough and they complain enough, that somehow it's going to get women to want to behave like the women from yesteryear. And what guys need to realize is that shit will never happen. But in a mass exodus, women are not going to massively choose to go back to that. Absolutely not. It's done. It's done. It's not. And here's the issue. The thing is, guys need to realize now that they're not playing by the same set of rules that you were taught. Okay? The bullshit that Disney sold you was a lie. Get over it. Women are not going that way. So then what do you have to do? You have to adapt. You have to recognize the new climate and how things are being played and the way that things are moving. You can't blame women for what they do. Okay? You could only blame you for thinking that they're going to do something different. You having a covert contract, thinking that if you do certain things for them, that they will oblige to you. And that is not true anymore. They don't need you anymore. That's the reality of it. You have to now become wanted. If you're not wanted and you're not, because they don't need you, if you're not wanted, you're irrelevant. And that's the reality of it. Men don't get that through their head, but that's the truth. But now with that knowledge, guys, how do you decide to move? It depends on you. You could either adapt and realize, look, this is the climate. This is how things are going. Now I'm going to adjust my approach and be maybe more cautious or be more aware. However, whatever you choose to do, that's what you have to do. You can't complain that they're not behaving this way when that's not them anymore. And I agree with that. With that said, though, men need to wake up in that regard. But at the same time, ladies, if men don't want you for whatever reason, I'm only talking about the guys that the women want right now, okay, Jen? I'm not talking about the guys that they can't get, guys that can't get the girls. I'm talking about the guys that women say they want that that get passed up on, all right? Ladies, if you do something in your past or in your lifetime that something makes the guy doesn't want to be with you, that's his fucking choice. And you have no right to shame him, just like he has no right to shame you. But the thing is, if you do so and you point at him for being an asshole or a misogynist, for wanting a certain type of character in a woman that you don't possess, you can't be mad at him.
I just want to say something real quick to the chat. I just want to say something. This is the third time I've seen the word polyamory thrown in there, and I hope y'all not saying that the answer is polyamory. As a person who has practiced polyamory for a number of years, you motherfuckers do not need polyamory. Okay, you can barely hang on in monogamy.
Right.
Y'all gonna sit out here? What y'all gonna sit out here coffee dating motherfuckers to death? Okay, that's what y'all gonna do. You ain't got no goddamn money for polyamory or polygamy. Okay, sit down, try to get it right with one. Try to get it right with one person before you sit here and you want to introduce more people in your bed. Y'all are half of y'all can, according to a lot of the women, the hoes that y'all run after, half of y'all can't fuck for more than 10 minutes. So you want to bring on two women into the bedroom and embarrass yourself twice over? Look, listen, polyamory is not the answer for 95% of you. Okay? Just chill out, figure out who you are and how you can exist with one person first, and then maybe when your finances change and you change, but in terms of maturity, and you grow as a person, because polyamory ain't all about fucking 5 or 6 fucking people. That's swinging, okay? You know what I mean? And shit like that. That's technically, well, yeah, being a hoe. But anyway, you know what I mean? But anyway, what I'm saying here is this. Just concentrate on one person. Don't concentrate on entering more complex, relationship dynamics, because you can't handle a traditional one.
So it's funny that it's always the same. It's funny, it's always the same sentiment, right? Like, those men don't know how women work. This is the best infomercial for passport bros. This is a good infomercial for this is why men are fleeing the country for prostitutes, right? And here's the thing: there are some men that are always going to lose. You will always lose. You don't work out. You don't make enough money. You don't have swag. That is the honest truth. I don't understand why when I say it, it's an insult. When Kevin Samuels was given the truth, everybody beat off to him. All of you motherfuckers beat off to him. Here's a woman telling you the truth. You motherfuckers do not qualify. You're not attractive. You're
right.
not sexy.
And those are the same. Money. And those are the same ones say, well, I get pussy, blah, blah, blah. Like, well, women are like men too. They will fuck you and not tell anybody. They will lie. Because
I mean, think about it. Women lie about their partner. Women lie about so many things when it comes to sex because they've had to. That like you really
Megan lied. See, Megan Thee Stallion lied about fucking that dude. So
I mean,
right, I would have lied too.
Right?
Here's the thing for the passport bros. Like, okay, yeah, get your passport, go overseas, you find
Please
a girl.
go.
But here's the thing: don't bring her back. Don't bring her back, because she'll be coming just as one, like the one woman that you find over there, and you bring her here.
Nobody like
she's
me
gonna
and my
come.
dudes.
She's gonna come back. She's gonna be just like the women that you're complaining about.
Yes,
you gotta remember, it's the culture and the society that these people live in is what keeps them that way. So if you go over there and try to bring her back, guess what? She's gonna be just like another American woman that you are complaining about.
Look,
so
the
whole thing of passports only matters if you are a top tier guy. and you have the opportunity to pick whoever you want. And you choose to
I
go
will.
overseas because you're a top tier guy and pick a woman from a different culture that you can still maintain that power because you are that top tier guy.
And it's
I will
because you
defend
are
that.
that man that they're telling that those women that they'll be. They're that man that you'll be alone. You'll forever be alone. Nobody's gonna want you. Well, no, that's why you're going overseas, because you can't compete in the going rate market. You're alone. You
Yeah.
have nobody.
Yo,
What?
man, look,
What?
listen, man, you bring one of
Ain't
them
it
big
just
busted Dominican
easier?
girls back. What happened?
Isn't it just easier for those guys just to admit you're a loser? Like I'm sorry. Like I don't want to sound mean, but
Yeah.
you're a loser. You're a loser, and it's okay.
But
You
here's
can
the thing.
eventually win if you put in the work. Right now, you're a loser. That's all.
Here's the thing. Remember that, Jen? You remember that show that you and I had called Control, Men in Control and Controlling Men?
Yep.
Okay, so the guys that are complaining are controlling men. They want to be able to use verbiage in terms to control women or to enforce control upon women to have them change their behavior. Now, like myself, a man that's in control, and I know that I'm in control of just my life, and I have no power to dictate over anybody else's life unless they choose to give me that power. All right. I have no say, so I don't care what they do. Now, I can only care when they do something that maybe affect me, right? Because I have that control. But if a woman's going around cheating or sleeping around or having a whole bunch of bodies and I don't agree with it, it doesn't bother me because that has nothing to do with me. So there's a difference between men in control and say, you know what, I can only control who I allow in my life. But these guys are trying to control women that are not even in their life
At all. And
these women haven't even surrendered control to them to begin with. So again, you guys have to realize that what you're saying is irrelevant to them because you are not in the position that they view as someone of authority. So you're not going to shame them into submission. And that's never a good thing in the first place. That's not how submission is working. You know how submission works is when a woman ultimately chooses, I want to give the authority to that guy without you requiring it from her. That's true submission. Anything else is called obedience. So do you want obedience or do you want submission? Because I like submission. I don't want obedience because you know what obedience means? Obedience means like I'm going to do it because I don't want to get in trouble.
It's attraction rather than promotion.
Exactly. But at the same time, again, as I say, this whole issue is on both parties. And that's what I've been trying to say from the beginning, because you have one side of guys that are bitching and moaning that these girls are hoes and they're not even sleeping with them. And they're not even entertaining. These women are not even trying to entertain them in the first place. All right. That's one thing. So that's stupid. That's stupid. But on the other side, you have women complaining about guys that they want to get with that refuse to get within a relationship with them. They would love to fuck them. They will definitely fuck them, but not commit to them because of their past life. And that's ladies, you can't blame them for that either. So I'm saying you guys are complaining and bitching about people that don't even want you on both sides. And instead of bitching and complaining about them, either work on yourself and level the fuck up and realize that the terrain has now changed and adapt and move the fuck on, or go by yourself and beat off your dick, you know.
Unfortunately for men, the hoe will always have more options than the motherfucker buying coffee and trying to shame women. Period. All right.
You know how you change that though?
I know, but let me say this. I don't that whole body count thing. It's a great topic for social media, but I call cap. No one has those conversations for real, for real. The only time they have those body count conversations is when it's a fucking celebrity. How many of you guys have dated a woman and asked her body count? Honestly speaking, I've never been asked that. Lily, I'm sure you've never been asked that. That there's social media life and then there's real life. Hey, how many bodies you have? It's a great conversation piece. But the thing is, a woman can be promiscuous, still get married, still have a boyfriend, still have children. A motherfucker that thinks a coffee date is a good date, a motherfucker that's not attractive, who doesn't work out, who has to flee the country for $40 hookers, will never have the options that the quote unquote hoe has. Never.
Absolutely.
Never.
Here's the one thing of what you just said that's off. Nobody's saying that a hoe can't get married. We all know that hoes get married. It's evident. The issue when it comes to pair bonding is being able to maintain the relationship without wanting to step out, without going outside the marriage. That is the whole issue when it comes to pair bonding. Nobody's saying that hoes don't get married. I mean, shit, plenty of hoes get married.
Is that the issue with 50% of Americans?
Hello.
What
Hello.
are you talking about?
Why is it like? Is that the? I'm just not understanding that logic.
What I'm saying when it comes, what the science shows is that when it comes to women with high body counts and that get married, they tend to have a more difficult time staying interested in the marriage that they're in to their partner, because of either that person was not their best sexually and he doesn't do it for them, and that she remembers this guy over here that was way better, and that's what she truly desires. So it's intentionally she's settling down for somebody that's not her best. And I always tell guys, like, unless you are her best, you're gonna have problems.
Well, Glenn, actually, the science behind it. Let me just correct one point. The science behind it is not just the sexual dynamic. It's did that individual affect the romantic side of the brain, which is in the second hemisphere, and produce romantic love along with the sexual environment. So that's where the dynamic comes.
You first have to have the sexual
stimulating that environment.
Yes,
it's
but
not
you
just
first have
prowess.
But in order to get to that romantic part, you have to stimulate the sexual part first. So if you can't stimulate the sexual part,
not necessarily.
I know it's not necessarily, but the statistically it says that the odds are a lot harder for a person to be stimulated romantically if they have not first been stimulated sexually. So when I'm talking about just the sexual part first, because I'm saying that that's the part that you first have to get through before you can get to the second part.
From the study, because I looked at the study you were talking about, and I watched her TED Talk as well. What she's saying is that there is an aspect of romantic love that is triggered non-sexually. That's where we get the whole concept of love at first sight. And she even cited that animals go through that dynamic as well. So it's not always a sexual dynamic that affects pair bonding, but it is a factor. And she was saying that promiscuity dampens that environment because there's a constant firing of dopamines and oxytocin in relationship. Oxycodone is it?
And the way that the brain has to rewire itself.
Right.
So can I say this, because it sounds weird to me when you talk about, well, women can't pair bond if they sleep around. It sounds weird. First of all, men cheat more than women. Okay, statistically, men cheat more than
women. That is not true.
Statistic I read, men cheat more than women. I don't know what.
Actually, it's 50-50. Okay,
it's
absolutely 50-50.
It's not 50-50.
Now it's closer. It's closer to 50-50 now.
Yes, it's 50-50.
It's not 50-50. Men are conditioned. Men are raised to fuck around, literally, from when they're little boys. Women are not. Women are raised to close your legs and be respectful and take care of your man. And you don't want to be a slut and you don't want to be a hoe. So you're not going to tell me that's 50-50. That's
actually it is 50-50. I can give you the stats. I can show you.
I can give you a stat that said men cheat more. So whose stat are we going to believe?
The one that's accurate.
I can
bring the one that's actually right. The one that's probably peer reviewed.
I can. Well, where'd you get yours from? Einstein? Did Einstein do it? Like,
no, because Einstein's dead.
Okay. So
I'm saying, like, if we could get a peer reviewed, statistic.
Okay, when you talk about pair bonding, I guess that's the new keyword. Pair bonding. Okay.
And you're still taking what I said out of context. I didn't say that women could not pair bond. I said it makes it more difficult for them to pair bond.
Okay, so
that's the difference.
Men pair bond, all the pussy they get throughout their whole life, can they pair bond?
Actually, yes. It's been shown that men are able to compartmentalize way better in that regard than women, technically.
Okay, so then 50% of the divorce. Explain that.
Explain what?
Explain, why do people just get divorced? So there's no such thing as, I don't fucking like you anymore. I don't want you anymore. You cheated. You stink. I hate your fucking in-laws. I'm tired of your life and these kids. I'm tired of you not being able to pay bills. You're fucking boring. So people just get divorced because they can't pair bond?
No, people got. I mean, think what's have played into the modern way that we do divorce now. We don't value marriage as a society anymore. We have now treated it was ever since we implemented no fault divorce. We have treated marriage as the fact of like it's like what, it's nothing that of value. It's
Pero
nothing
who's
to.
we? Who's we?
I'm
Men
saying
and
the
women?
culture. No, I said the culture. I'm saying the
So men
society and the
and
culture.
women. So men and
Both. Yes,
women.
both have treated it as like, it's not of any value.
Okay, so what does
Absolutely.
that have to do with pair
But
bonding? What does that have to do
no,
with pair
no,
bonding?
but you're asking me about divorce. You said what's going on with the 50%
Right.
of the
My
divorce.
point is
Okay, so
that
I'm explaining this.
divorce.
I'm saying there's more factors than just one thing that has to do with divorce. But what
Okay,
is
so then don't
proven,
say
but
that
what
it's
is proven,
then
I'm
don't say
not
it's because
I'm not
women
throwing
can't
that.
pair bond.
But see, I'm not throwing that in there as it. I'm saying women are choosing to divorce. Part of that, women are or divorcing men at a 70% rate. Okay, out of all the divorces, it's 70% of them are initiated by women. So what could that be? Okay, whatever the number is, it's still women are still doing it way more than men. So then, what is the reason why it's not all because all these guys are assholes and they're horrible and they're beaters and they just suck in bed or whatever, they're ugly. Okay, that's not always the reason. All right, that's not the entire reason. Okay, some of the reasons are because she fell in love with somebody else, or she fell out of love with her husband and she got somebody else. I mean, so we can't say that it's all one thing. But what I'm saying, when you have the majority of it doing it, one person or one group of people are the majority of that's doing it, you have to ask why. And you have to look at all factors. I'm not saying it's all because of not being able to pair bond. I'm saying that actually does play a role. And to dismiss it like it doesn't play a role is being ignorant to the facts. That's all I'm saying.
Did you just call me ignorant?
Let me say this, Jen.
No.
Did you just call me ignorant?
No, I did not.
That watch your step on my panel. I'm about to
I said, you want me to repeat what I said? I said, if one chooses to ignore those facts that is a statistic and it's proven, then that person is being ignorant. Yes. So if you choose to do that.
But let me ask you this, ignoramus. Cause of divorce is the on top of the list. Does it say pair bonding? The number one reason for divorce, is it pair bonding? Is it lack of pair bonding?
It could be infidelity. It could be financial.
Okay, I'm asking a question. At the top of the list, is it lack of pair bonding?
Well, what is infidelity?
Lack of pair bonding?
That's infidelity. That's infidelity.
This word.
That's infidelity. If you are cheating, then you're not able to pair bond. You're not able to pair bond if you're cheating. So there, yeah.
So who's initiating the infidelity? Is it
right now,
Mendy?
It's 50-50.
It's 50-50.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So
show me that.
Wait, what?
Jen, let me say this about the point of pair bonding. Let me say this about the point of pair bonding so that we're a little bit clear. They're still saying that men and women's brains are wired differently. So how pair bonding is affected in the minds are different. So because women give birth to children and they nurture, they have a different thought process. So that process is being affected when it comes to pair bonding. So that's why there's a distinction between the male and female responses.
I can't help but to wonder if the woman's wiring is being rewired based off of the new world, based off of where they have had to be put in the positions they've had to be put in. You know, people can rewire themselves.
There is
a rewiring that's taking place based upon the new roles that are taking place in society. So that is a dynamic that's being studied in another aspect of this study. So I mean, it's very interesting to watch, but it's also cyclical. So there's other aspects of history that this is mirroring as well.
Okay, let me ask.
I wonder why women. Wait, I have one thing to say. It's going to be quick.
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask the ladies a serious question. I think you guys have to be very dry if you have to deal with all these kind of men. Yeah, I think you guys are just like have a desert down there, because if this is what you guys have to deal with, I feel very bad for all of you.
No one deals with these kind of men. That's why they're in the chat hating. No one
Because I'd be like, if I was a woman, I'd be the Sahara Desert.
Okay, so let me ask a question.
Guys.
Let me ask a question here. Like, because it just sounds like we're beating around the bush when it comes to the concept of pair bonding and so on and so forth. And I understand
It sounds
the
like a scam.
no, it's not a scam. No, it's just it's something that's not being said. You know what I mean? And it's the 500-pound gorilla in the room. Like, okay, so you guys want these girls to have low body counts because let's keep it real. It lessens the chance that they basically run into a monster slong that basically in your mind rewires their walls, and then you gotta follow behind that, right? Because most of you guys aren't built like that, right? You know what I mean, come on. I mean, you know what I mean. Let's talk about what it is. I mean, if you were well in your, and I'm not saying that you have to be, you know what I mean, built like that. But if you were well and confident in your sexual prowess and your abilities to provide and do on so on and so forth, if you were just very strong and placing yourself as a man, you wouldn't really worry too tough about someone's body count
At
because
all.
it's like no matter whatever it is, I am who I am, and I plan to knock this person's socks off. You start worrying about these things. You start worrying about when how a person is being, how a person is used to being treated, because you want to compare whether or not you're able to live up to that. I think that's what a lot of these conversations secretly are about, and a lot of people just aren't being honest.
Here's
That's a loser. That's a loser. If I have to think about somebody being bigger than me when I'm messing with a woman, I come here. I'll come here to win. That is the goal. Who going in the bedroom like, oh, was the last guy bigger than me? What kind of bullshit is that?
same men who flee the country for $30 prostitutes. Those are the same men. It's the same personality. The men that do not want to compete. They think body count. Was he richer than me? Was he bigger than me? Was he taller than me? Who was with her? Was she riding him better? Was she more attracted to him? Did he have a better body? It's the same mindset of these motherfuckers who flee the country because they can't compete with the men here. And they know out there all they need is $40 to compete. It's the same mindset. The issue I have with the quote unquote pair bonding is that if you have a biased opinion, and I believe we love Glenn, but he has a biased opinion. He's a man's man, right? I don't believe that he lives in a world where it's like, no, women are 50% right and men are percent right. He's playing for the guys' team, which is great. He should. I'm playing for the girls' team. But what happens is somebody watches a TED Talk or somebody reads an article, a medical article. It's like pair bonding. That's what it is. That's what women can't do. And then then they throw it out there because they like the new word and how it fits something else that women cannot do. So that's my issue with that. It's like, well, the pair bonding is because of the women. It's the pair bonding. It's the pair bonding. And then he says it, and then some other YouTuber will say it. Then some other YouTuber will say it. And then it's something else thrown on women. Why it's women's fault relationships don't work out. Because it's the pair bonding. Never mind, motherfuckers are cheating. They're fucking lame. They're fucking boring. They don't fucking work out. Their mother's a bitch. They're a mama's boy. They ain't got no money. They're not adventurous. You got to watch 50 Shades of Grey or watch porn to get off if you're a woman or buy the rose that's sucking the soul out of your pussy. Nobody talks about that. But pair bonding. When's the last time you did something adventurous for a woman? When's the last time you had enough money to take her on vacation? When's the last time you hit the gym? Do you have a six pack? Do you have a receding hairline? Are you 5'3", you fucking bitch? You know what I mean? There's so many shortcomings that men have. There's so many shortcomings that men have. And when they don't fucking match up to a man, they flee the country for a $40 hooker because they can't compete with the guys here. And let me tell you how easy it is for men. You could be dead fucking broke, but if you have a six pack and some broad shoulders, a woman will take you into her home. And you motherfuckers can't even do that.
I've seen that shit. I've
seen that
shit.
It's
I've
true.
seen that shit many a time.
I lived in Atlanta for 13 years, and let me tell you, those are you see the most beautiful Black people ever in Atlanta. Beautiful, right? And my dad used to say he was the first person I heard say this, but then I heard other men say the same thing. Like Atlanta is a place where you can get off the bus and move into a woman's house that night and drive her to work in her car the next morning, right? But it's typically homosexuals, which are homosexuals fall under that. They look good, they keep their body good, and their sex is good, right? And those three things will take you around the world. Same as the Lori Harveys. It's the same thing. Like, I don't know why people don't understand that. Like,
Well, if it's that
Now
easy,
you're going to be a.
if it's that easy, because it is that easy. I've had
I'm moving to Atlanta.
a lot of people had
It's true.
homosexual. If it's that easy, right? Because I've seen my girlfriends too. My girlfriends have had a dude wasting the fucking gas in her car, laying up in the house, playing the PlayStation. If it's that fucking easy, how the fuck is it that these men can't even do that? They can't even do that. They don't even qualify to be the fuck boy, the toy boy, the boy toy. They don't even qualify for that. When that's the easiest thing you could do is go in a woman's life, have some good dick and a six pack, and she'll let you lay up. They don't even qualify for that. How? Somebody make it make sense. Why are you still
Some of them ain't got the genetics for it.
talking
I
about
mean,
passport?
seriously, some of them don't have the genetics for it, and some of them just, well, they just don't have the discipline to go get that six pack.
Then
They just
then
don't have
get
the
your
fucking
fucking
discipline.
passport and get the fuck on and stay out.
Oh, that $40 is gonna turn to $60 pretty soon. I mean, you know, what I mean, hey,
Man,
the price
it's
of
sixty
everything
dollars
going up,
for a
baby.
haircut. This is $60 for a haircut. I was hot last haircut I got. My man said, "Oh, the total is $80." I'm like, The fuck?" Listen,
Yeah, I don't like what I pay my stylist either. Fuck shit.
I'm like, you ain't that good. You ain't that good for no fucking $80.
So here's the thing. I love that. I don't know if you want to come up, Huds. I see you in the chat being Glenn's cheerleader. You could come up. I'll drop the link if you want to come up. Hudsman
Shit.
cheering from outside the club. Huds is cheering from outside the club. I dropped the link if you want to come up. So I love the guys on my panel, even though I beat them up. I would like to hear in a world where men are not evolving with this quote unquote modern woman who's hell on wheels now. These women are hell on wheels. For all the men that don't want to flee the country and get their dick sucked by a $30 hooker, what advice would the guys on the block tonight give to these motherfuckers? Some of them are hopeful. Some of them are watching. Some of them are listening. I got almost 50 people in watching us, and I better my likes better match. Don't just be lurking. Hit me with a like, okay? If you're not gonna super chat me, what advice would you give these guys who are like, yo, I don't want to flee the country. I like the women here. What am I to do? I don't know what the fuck to do.
Well, my first thing would be, well, you better improve. And when I say improve, I mean that's just the main thing. And when I say improve, you should do a number of things. First of all, you should be clear on what you want. Right? Be clear on what you want. You know, if you don't want a 304 or a hoe or whatever you want to call it, then steer clear away from that. You know, what are your intentions? What are your goals, and so on and so forth. And when you are clear on the person and the woman that you want, if it's a woman of high value, then you have to ensure that what you're bringing to the equation either matches or it supersedes what she has. That's what I'm saying. You know, you can't come to the table with less and you see a woman, you know what I mean, who has more, and you don't have the negotiation skills to actually, you know what I mean, make that situation shake. I will say overall that a lot of men do not have they have very poor communication skills. They have very poor negotiation skills. They just life is a negotiation. Life is a negotiation. Life is understanding, you know what I mean? The best way to get to what you want is creating a situation that is a win-win, looking for, you know what I mean, pain points and so on and so forth, and moving forward with that. In the chat, I'll basically give a number of books that you guys should check out that are often in my library that discuss persuasion, that discuss communication, and so on and so forth, and how that can relate to any situation. Your other best bet is that if you don't leave the country, then you're going to have to put yourself into a situation where you ensure that there is a huge power imbalance. I mean, this chick's going to have to be broke. I mean, she might not be very good looking. She might be below a 5 or 4 or 3. I mean, this woman has to be desperate. You know what I mean? She has to be destitute and desperate. And you're going to have to leave the lot with that because that's all you can afford. You know what I mean? Like, look, listen, you better get used to driving a Pinto. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Don't have, you know what I mean, Shea Maurice tastes when you offering, you know what I mean, Starbucks dates. It just is what it is, man. You got to step your game up. You have to understand what does the market call for. That is the summary. What is the market call for, and can you compete? And if you can't compete, and you're gonna have to find other pockets and other ways to actually say like, I can't compete, but let me pick up the fucking scraps that the rest of the men actually, throw down on the ground and the chicken bones, and figure out what chicken bone and scrap you can actually get and live off like a fucking scavenger. Those are your options.
Well, Glenny Glenn, I know you got some advice for these fucking cornballs.
Yeah. It's really simple, guys. Trust but verify. Simple as that. All right. It's like, don't listen to what anybody tells you. I don't care what a woman tells you. If her actions are not congruent to what she says, then dismiss her. Simple as that. Don't this whole narrative, you guys, like, let me tell you something. Everybody, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. People fucking lie, and people will deceive you to get what they want. It's not gender specific. All right? It's not gender specific. So therefore, make sure the woman that you want to get involved with, actually you vet her and she meets your criteria. Do your due diligence and look into it. Question, do some research, find out what she does or what she was before you committing, if that's what you're worried about. And realize that, you know what? The way that we do relationships today is not the way that your parents talked about them, not the way that you saw them in Disney. All right. You know, getting into a marriage today is putting you in a very negative position or taking all the risk. And if that woman is worth that much to you, then so be it. Take the risk. But know ahead of time, the odds are not in your favor. So learn to maneuver accordingly. But that doesn't mean, and I will say this, that does not mean to abuse or misuse or manipulate, to persuade or to try to convince or coerce women to do something for you or to give you something that you are not going to, in return, provide her what you said you would. Don't be a deceiver. I hate, the one thing I fucking hate about guys is the sneaky fucker game. They play the role that they think they're going to, convince her that they're this guy and that they're going to do all these things for her. All right. And then the next thing you do, as soon as you get what you want, you fucking flip a script and you change the game. You act like a complete asshole. Don't fucking do that, because you're the type of guy that I want to kick his ass, because you make it difficult for everybody, because you do so much damage to people just trying to get your notch count. All right. And not realizing that you're affecting other people. If you're going to fuck other women, if you want to fuck women, be upfront with them. And if you are the right guy, if you are that high value guy, I guarantee you they'll open their legs for you if they really want you. If the only reason why people are not that guy that has to do that shit, the only people that do that are people that are manipulative and that don't meet the value of a high value guy. So they try to pawn it off as something else, and then they just be manipulative. Don't be that guy, because that guy's a piece of shit.
Glenn, you said I loved your last Instagram post, and you were talking about manipulation. You was on that subject.
Yeah, it's a female trait.
Right. It's interesting though. We had someone up here, I think yesterday or the time before, and he was saying that that is how you're supposed to get. No, it was on my Kevin Samuels versus Derek Jackson stream, and he was saying that that is how you're supposed to get women. You break them down, make them feel like they're not who they are, and then you could build them back up.
The only
So
person that do that,
that sounded to me like your manipulation comment on your post. Can you speak to that? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, manipulate. Okay, think about this. And this goes down to basic biology. All right. Women are not physically as strong as men. right? So therefore they cannot physically overpower them, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So since women are not physically able to overpower them, their only means to survival was in the form of manipulation. They had to be able to convince the guy that she's not a threat, and so that she could not be hurt by him, or for him to not be aware that she wants to leave him, or whatever the case is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's in an innate way, manipulation technically is a move that women do, right? That's their means of survival. And what's happening now is we having guys not being masculine because they don't carry that role. So what they do is they're like, I'm going to adapt to what females do, and I'm going to run female game on females. All right, and they're not being guys. They're acting like women, and they're doing more damage. Women will respect a guy that would tell them like, look, I just want to fuck, and you know what? I don't plan on committing to you, because if you're really that guy, she'd be like, okay. If you're that guy, because she wants the experience, and also she wants the not only the experience, but she wants to take on the challenge of getting you to want to commit to her. Girls love that idea, like, oh, he's this guy that he's not gonna settle down with nobody. My pussy's so good, I'm gonna make him settle down. Watch this. Women will take on that challenge, but see right there, you're all honest. You're telling her up front what your motives are, what your intentions are, and you're letting her make the decision, and that's fucking good. That's awesome, because you're giving her all the knowledge that she needs to know before making a decision that she could choose. Now, what these other guys doing, these manipulative fucks, they're behaving manipulative because they're afraid that they know that they're not the guy. They're not that high value guy. They're concerned that if they're questioning the fact that they're high value or not, and they try to be manipulative, it's because they're not the person that they know that they could get her to do that. That she would require more of this guy getting access to her sexually than she would the other guy that's a high value guy. So he plays that manipulative role to try to get what he wants. And that's deceiving, that's deceptive, and that's not man-made. That's a bitch behavior. And I mean bitch in a non-binary form, because I'm not talking about females, because bitches are both men and women. So that's what I mean by that.
Thank you. That it was a really dope Instagram post. Brother Ish, what say you? 3, 2, 1. Tristan, you're up.
Oh, how can I say this? I said, one, learn how to be by yourself at first, because that's what it seems like they're clinging on to something now more than ever. That's how it feels like. Secondly, um, my father taught me this when I was young. You have to do what the women have mastered, which is not be so focused on one. It feels like these men are focused on that one woman instead of saying, you know what, I have this woman, then this woman, then this woman. You don't need, nobody ever told you need one woman to focus on. I said, eventually you'll slow down and you be with that one person. But right now, you sitting there say, I'm messing with this person, I'm messing with this person. Either they're gonna be like what Glenn said, either she's gonna take the challenge and say I'm gonna be the one, or they'll move on. Don't ruin your roster for a bench player. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much it, because I'm not gonna give y'all too much, because I prefer my pick of the litter. That means more men that are fucking up. That means more for me. So listen, I am the wrong person to come to for advice, because I'm gonna give you the advice that will fuck up everything. All right, I'll tell it to your face. Listen, don't trust me. All right.
Tristan. Ish, are you back? 3.
I am. I think that we really have to
What advice? What
revamp
advice
how
you
we
have
look, uh, to revamp how you view women and how you view relationships and how you view yourself, and to improve yourself and be a quality person. Build it and they will come. That's the bottom line.
That's the best advice ever. I saved the ladies for last because I wanted the guys to talk to the guys. It always seems like, women are talking at men and men are talking at women. And I think it's just more effective if people that have experience and sound mind and hearts and not perfect, but have been through hell and back are talking to other people, giving other people advice, because a lot of these people on social media, they're full of shit, right? They don't have the best intentions. They don't really want to see people happy. I think someone said on a panel the other day, no one's giving these guys advice to fix shit, because if they fix shit, they won't go back to their channel. So you have to keep them in a disarray and fucked up. And it's like, oh, I'll go to that channel and he'll give me that dopamine hit, but he won't really fix anything. So with that
I
said,
didn't. Could Ish repeat that? Because I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. Or give me the gist of it.
Ish, what did you say?
That it's about self-improvement, and build it and they will come. That's just the bottom line. We need to revamp. We need to revamp. I mean, I'm parroting almost what you're saying to some degree, but I'm also saying that we have to revamp how we look at how our interpersonal relationships are. And the way things are going in this society under this social construct, it's going to go really bad, and then it's going to automatically go into a reset. And a lot of science is saying that as well.
Oh, absolutely. I hear what you're saying. It just sounded like a proverb to me, like, and see that, and that's an issue that I have with the church. Like, they tell men, like, if you're this guy, she will be good to you. No, that doesn't necessarily mean that. You can be whatever guy in the world, but if you're just not the guy for her, she's not going to give you what she needs to give you to be in a relationship. So it's like, build it and you will have a better opportunity. Not build it, they will come, though. It's like, because that almost like it's saying, like, if you do this, here's a formula. If you do this formula like this, you're gonna get this result. But that's not true. It's like, you have a better odds at success if you try this. But either way, that's not guaranteed. And I don't like giving anybody guarantees. And that's what I was saying. That's what I wanted to hear. To make sure.
Well, okay, let's qualify it to the some, not all. But again, if you are physically fit, economically sound, and intellectually developed or robust, you will have a greater opportunity to make a choice of whom you desire. That's what I'm saying when I say build it and they will come. Building yourself, evolving yourself. It's like the meme I saw the other day where there was this fat guy that was hugging on this cute little model type female, and then there was a guy in the gym that wasn't, and he looked and he said, well, wow, this fat guy is getting this girl. I need to just go to work.
But the reason why I had to mention that is because a lot of people, especially guys, tend to be on the spectrum, and I mean the autistic spectrum, when they hear these things. So they take everything like either it's so absolute, and then they go into these ridiculous rage fits because they thought they built it and nobody came, and now they're mad, and they're now going to start raging because I was told if I build it, they will come. And it's like, you know what? It's better to be clear. Like, look, you guys are going to have a better opportunity if you do X, Y, and Z. Still doesn't guarantee anything, but your odds are better than they were before. I think that's like the best way to tell these guys, because if you tell them something like some proverb, like if you do this, they will do this, and it doesn't happen, they get crazy. I just like to keep the crazy to a minimum.
Lily, what say you?
Well, I will say, one of the reasons why I feel like this show is the greatest show on YouTube is because of how diverse this panel is, right? But what I heard tonight was a lot of solutions, whether they want to hear it or not, right? So one of them was playing your dating pool. Like, be honest with yourself first, right? Be honest with yourself first. And then from there, get your shit together first for you. I did a video on this. Are you too broke to date? I did a TikTok or a reel or something, and I said, are you too broke to date? And I used myself as the example, and that came from a lesson that I learned, right? That I was too broke to date at one point. I was realizing that shit wasn't working the way I wanted to work. And I don't just mean financially broke. I'm talking about like emotionally, like just not having emotional stability, you know, just a whole plethora of things, right? So work on yourself first. And then from there, be honest about what you want. Be honest with yourself about what you want, and to be honest with the other person. If you do that, shit just it will go cool. Like it's just that simple. Like I I have an ex who was honest with me from day one. Was it what I wanted to hear? No. But guess what? Till this day, I respect him. I'll always respect that man because he he was who he said he was, you know? And this is, it's just that simple. And passport bros, yeah, you can't compete. So just go.
Just go.
Just go.
But stay gone, right? Why you got to come back and talk about it? Stay gone. I'm going to co-sign what you said, Lily. I thought there were a lot of great solutions up here. Of course, there are people who will always find the problem to every solution, because I think we have on the panel very well, if I say myself, very well-rounded men from different walks of life. I always say that. Men who care about their finances and their bodies, and knowing that they have to be a certain thing in order to get a certain outcome. And I really think that that's the gist of it. It's simple math. I don't know why people turn it into fucking algebra. It's simple math, right? Something like what Ish said, build it and they will come, right? But then, of course, understand that not everybody's going to want what you built. And that is okay, right? So you have, the word vetting gets thrown around a lot. You have to vet people, right? Everybody's not good for you, and you're not for everybody. But we have to understand also that there's some people that will always be pessimistic, and it's like, no, women are this, and no matter what we do, women and they're 304s. And same on the other side. There are women that will always hate men and resent men because they had to be stronger women, and that's life. But I think that my panel in this show, they do give a lot of solutions, especially the guys. So it's on you. I mean, you don't have to listen. You can keep, surfing YouTube and throwing shit in the chat and MGTOW and passports. You could do that for the rest of your life. The rest of us are going to move on and be accountable and understand that sometimes we fucked up, but we could improve. And that's life. Like I said, some of you will always be losers. Some of us will always be winners. And that's life. There's nothing wrong with it, but you have to understand what your dating pool in is. Funny, and I'll end on this. When Kevin Samuels was telling women that they were reaching too high or wanting too much or had unrealistic expectations or they were average at best, the men were all for it. But when I sit here and tell you you're average at best, and here's the list why, nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. So it's on you. So does anybody have any final thoughts or solutions or anything you want to say? You want to plug a project or your channel again, since we have almost 40 people in the room?
Get your fucking ass in the gym. You'd be surprised how many problems will get fixed, when you don't have to lift your fucking stomach up to do half the fucking things that you need to fucking do. All right, when you can look yourself in the mirror and be proud, you'd be surprised what that does to your self-esteem, what that does to your psyche. Because when you're able to conquer those things, then you will believe that you can conquer almost anything in your life. And it teaches you discipline.
And plus, it's fun
I would
when
say,
women say, "I need to reach for something," and you just pick them up so they can reach it. I do all the time at work. They love it. Listen, go to the gym.
I would say that the end game, and we have to really look at things in a grander scale. Women are much more valuable than just being pleasure devices. I'm not just catering to the women. It's science. Is that there's the intimacy is better when you're hitting all the different areas of the mind and the brain, and that's the value of partnership. And that we are really seeking partnership at the end of the day. So for young men that are not clear, the end game is just not hitting it. The end game is being a quality individual, meeting another quality individual, and producing something between you two.
I will say, you know what? I have content on my channel, Glenn Lawrence. You guys can find me. Just put me in the search bar. You can subscribe, follow. I talk about this stuff on the regular. But yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with one thing. And it kind of tailors off of what Brother Ish said. All right, check this out. Real game, fellas, real game is not getting the girl to sleep with you one time. Real game is being able to maintain that girl's desire and interest over a lifetime. That's real game. Because there's one thing, you could convince somebody one time to make a mistake. You can play that role. You could, well, I just said you can manipulate them to the point where they give in. But being able to maintain that level of interest over a long period of time, that takes real game. And too many people are focused on the short-term game and not enough on the long-term game. And you wonder why you're alone and you don't have anybody want to be with you for more than 5 minutes. But ladies, here's the thing. You also have to realize that as much as you are the prize to him, a good man is the prize to you. All right. So treat them as a value of a prize if they are worthy of it. And you know when they are worthy of it. So let's just be honest with ourselves. Everybody.
I co-sign that. And the last super chat of the night. Thank you so much, Fahim Jackson. Fahim Jackson says, most guys in Gen Y and Gen Z have limited sex history, ultimately ending up with these women anyways and not knowing it. Whoops. Then there's that. And on that note, guys, I see you, Annalicia. You late as hell. You on Color People time. You would have been good up here for this topic. All right, guys. So we're gonna close. I don't know if I'm doing Sexy Saturdays. If I do Sexy Saturday, it's gonna be late. It's gonna be 10 o'clock at night. I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. I'm saying peek and see if I am. I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. I'm saying peak 10 o'clock my time, PST, which is hella late on your time. I believe that's 1 a.m. East Coast. Just in case I may have get bit by a bug and come back and do Sexy Saturday tonight. I don't know, because this was a lot. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming back for this part 2. I really, really wanted to do it. Thank you so much, beautiful Lily from YB Limited. I so appreciated you up here. I need my ladies up here. The ladies are hard to get up here. So I appreciate you so, so much. Please come back again. And also, I would like to do a panel where we're showing your whole movie for the 7 minutes, and then we could discuss after. I'd really love to do that. I just have to know how to share my screen, which I'm sure I could figure out very easily on StreamYard, that we can all watch it for those 7 minutes, and then we could discuss after. I'd love to do that.
There's a lot there.
Okay.
But thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. So we're out. Good night.
Good night, folks.
Woo! All right, guys. If you are still here for any strange reason, please hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door. Don't forget, I am on the block with Jen on all social media platforms and Cash App. If you're catching the replay and you want to support the show, hit me on the Cash App. I may be asleep, but the notification will come through. Thank you for everyone who held me down in the chat. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for your opinions. Even the guys that fucking work my nerves in the chat. Thank you for your opinions as well. But you need to untuck your nuts and come on a panel one day and say it with your chest. All right, guys. So good night. See you soon.